Hi everyone, we are Team A12. This is our final presentation talking about climate-induced crisis prevention tool for Pakistan. I would like to begin with talking about our product vision. The main goal of this project is to forecast natural disasters in Pakistan and analyze potential consequences of community-level social loss, such as environmental dislocation. We also managed to generate extensive data visualizations, such as heat map of seismic event to quantify severity levels by regions and neighborhoods, and economic trend comparing with migration rate within 20 years. Then I want to talk about why we are interested in this topic and want to create this product. There are several reasons. For now, the world is still lack of accurate data-driven tools to quantify climate-induced impacts and timely information on potential climate risks, which are mainly due to the lack of data. Apparently, we are also lack of swift response to adapt natural disasters, such as evacuating vulnerable communities in emergency. In the following sections, my teammates will explain how our product can tentatively solve these issues.
Okay, now I'm going to talk about the market attractiveness, which consists of two aspects. One is the demand side, and then the other side is about the supply side. So for demand side, we have seen that Pakistan has super high climate-induced risk. For example, there are a number of floods and droughts in the past couple of years, and the potential consequence is very alarming. There are about 3 million people who have already been affected, and the associated economic impact is also quite tremendous, which is about 3 billion per year. And because of these geographical conditions, multiple stakeholders ranging from the government, the business, as well as the local communities are in great needs of our disaster management tools. So moving from the demand side, now I'm going to talk a bit more about our supply side. So specifically, we want to think about who can be our potential competitors. And actually, in the market right now, we have not seen many similar products, and this is because of two reasons. So the first one is that right now there are lack of data set that we can use to understand the very complicated environmental circumstances, which is changing in a really fast pace. And the second challenge is that we are actually lack of technology. So we cannot fit like proper statistical regressions in order to deliver very accurate prediction on the climate related problems. However, we are able to overcome those problems and launch the data analytical tools in the end in order to help like the government as well as the businesses. And another point I want to particularly highlight is that we're not only going to help the government and the businesses, we actually care a lot about the marginalized community as well as the local people to make sure they can cope with the climate change properly. So after talking about the market attractiveness, now I would like to address a bit more on our business operational model. Specifically, we divide our potential customers into two categories, which are the pay users as well as the free users. So for the first type, which is the pay users, we include the Pakistan government and the businesses to provide analytical tools to help them forecast the climate-related problem. And the reason why we charge them is because they are rich, so we can use this revenue income to sustain our company as well as enable product development in the long term. And then for the free users, we want to help local communities and the nonprofit organizations. For example, we can send out alerts about the alarming circumstances so they may plan ahead. And we are not going to charge any prices on them because we believe that local communities have already been very vulnerable under the context of the climate change. And we also want to help the NGOs because we want to make sure that they can use our technology to scale up the impact in the long term. And for the next part, my teammate will talk a bit more on what kind of functions that we have used.
Yeah. As you can see, our product's main focus is to predict and analyze the climate crisis related data related to Pakistan. Now, the product addresses three main functionalities. First one is the seismic event analyzer, which goes over the earthquake-related data to geographically plot and identify the most vulnerable regions in Pakistan affected due to earthquakes. The second function is flood occurrence and weather forecasting data, which uses KNN clustering, and my teammate will be talking about it more. And the third one is environmental dislocation and forecasting model, mainly used to to forecast the migration related data, especially due to climate crisis. Now, all of this has been done using Python and used tools like sklearn and Gmaps to plot and predict models. Coming to the first function, which is seismic event analyzer, it basically helps identify worst hit regions in Pakistan. It uses data from Pakistan Meteorological Department and helps identify the most vulnerable regions of Pakistan based on the earthquake related events. As you can see in the map, the worst hit region is Islamabad, which is ironically the capital of Pakistan. This model can be used to identify such most vulnerable regions and help businesses or new businesses make decisions in terms of what is the best suitable geographical location. The second part of this seismic event analyzer is predicting the magnitude and depth of earthquakes given longitude and latitude. This helps in identifying if the impact of the earthquake that is going to happen in future. So that's all for the function one.
Okay, so for the function two, we have flood occurrence and weather forecasting. Which in this models, we have our data sets consist of variables of total precipitations of the month, temperature, largest precipitations of the day, vapor pressure, station pressure, sea and level pressure, and etc. So from the graph on the slides, you can see that there's a big difference between months of those observed precipitations and those of normal precipitation. So the difference we observe is quite large, and we decided to use this difference to create a model for flood occurrence and weather forecast. So the normal value here worth mention is the mean of the past years in that particular month. So due to the floods, it's not happening too frequently, so we have to deal with class imbalance before we fitting our KNN model to do our binary classifications. So why is KNN a choice here for our applications? There are three reasons for it. First of all, we do not require a human readable weather forecasting model here. We are just trying to make the predictions accurate, so we can see that whether the floods is coming, and we can do some precautions to it. Secondly, the predictions are not requested frequently, so we can use this model. We don't need to plug in data that frequent, so it's a good fit for us. And thirdly, it's a perfect model for increasing our accuracy, since this is the most important part for our model. So this is why we have KNN for our binary classification model. The model eventually has a score of 0.81 and can be used for plugging observations weather data to the model to see whether the floods is likely to happen at the particular given time. So government can send alerts to local communities and businesses to adapt potential crises and do some precautions. So here we come to our function 3, which is environmental dislocation forecasting. So from the graph, you can see from the top left-hand side, there's the legends. The first 3 are from our socio-economic data. And the last one is the migration rates calculated by inflow population divided by outflow populations throughout the year 2001 to 2021 in Pakistan. The values of the indicators are scaled so that they fit together in the plot. Since it is scaled, the gap between the data point is shorter than it should be in reality. We formulate multiple linear regression to forecast climate-related migration, so it can address the environmental dislocation forecasting of the movement of Pakistan residents. The trending and forecasting from the function can help organizations outside or inside the Pakistan to cope with the potential amount of migrations and deal with the problem more sufficiently. Yeah, so that's all for our functions. And here is our data reference. They come from various different sources.
Okay, right now I will briefly talk about brief demo about how our project is running. So this is all the files that under our project directory, and you can see we have a main file called group12 main project, and this main file calls all the functions and visualizations from our other files in this project. And in the terminal, if you run this main file like this, it will generate all the models and visualizations and all the calculation results in the terminal and presented as tables. Also, you can see that the visualizations did not show up here to avoid some messes. All the visualizations will be stored in your directory, a folder called generated plots. You can see they are already stored here. And to give you a brief example, this is the heat map we created for this project. And it's a HTML file so that you can scroll it bigger to see how the density distribution is showing in different countries. Thank you. That's all for our presentation.
Yeah, and this is all of our presentations for final projects. Thank you for your time and your listening. Thank you.